That's a positive.
Okay, we're on YouTube.
Everybody's on. It's not quite 6:30 yet, is it?
Not yet. Close.
Okay, we'll give it a second, but good evening, everyone. Glad to see you can make it.
Good evening.
Okay. Yeah, John Paul's is wrong. It says 6:23.
Mine says 6:28.
Yeah,
Okay,
my phone
this,
says 6:28.
well, the one I have says 6:29, so we're really close to start.
Yeah.
I think we're at 6:30. Okay, I think we'll round up to 6:30.
Perfect.
So everybody should have the amended agenda. Tuesday, January 19th, and it's 6:30 p.m. So welcome to everyone. Glad to see we could all make it in some form. First of all, is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest?
No.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
No.
Thank you. Seeing none, we'll go right into staff reports. I put mine today because Dan's on camera to Dan, and then Will, and then Chris, and then John Paul. So if you want to look at Dan's first of all, and I think he can hear us. So if we have any questions.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Great. If we have any questions, we'll give them to Dan. I'll just draw your attention to number 3. We indeed are responsible for the guardrails on Sunset Cove Road. And Dan is looking into that, and I assume you'll be able to do the work. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, that's correct, Mayor.
Thank you. Are there any other questions for Dan?
No. No.
Okay,
No.
We'll move on to Will then.
Mr. Mayor, can I add something?
Certainly you can.
So I forgot to include that effective March 31st, 2021, the Ontario Fire College will be closing its doors.
It will be what its doors?
It's closing.
Okay. Is that a temporary or forever?
It's a permanent.
Okay,
Moving to more in-house regional training centers and online formats. More information to come.
thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Will at this time?
No.
No. No.
Okay. Okay, let's move on to Chris Croskery Hodgins, Treasurer, Deputy Clerk.
Can I say excellent job on the WSIB? That you can never, ever, ever hear. You never hear that. That's freaking amazing.
Yes, it is.
Unbelievable. I've never seen that in all my years of working that they've ever given even a nickel back, never mind $2,000. Wow.
Yeah.
Good job, guys.
Yes, well done.
For sure.
That's full staff.
Now, any other questions for Chris or anything? As we go through the agenda, there might be something. So like I said, Chris will be here this evening. We'll move on to John Paul's. I think, Tom, that Anthony Rizzo at Omaguen Highlands, he's still in discussion with him about the magazine.
Yes, I see that. They're not too good at getting back. Eh?
Well, I guess it's their off season.
Yeah, yeah. Well, COVID too.
Yep,
A lot of things keep changing and they change really quickly. So I think everybody's just trying to adapt and make sure that they're using the resources the best way.
Right. We'll get there.
eventually, I hope. Do we have any, now, John Paul isn't here, but if there's any questions, we can attempt to answer them.
No.
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 Good. If not, I will turn it over to Charles.
I'm on muting. No, was yours muted? Mute yours. Good. No?
Sounds like you're on Star Trek.
I'll do some assistance.
I'll be there.
Right there. Yeah.
Aligned it.
I think it's still gonna reverb.
Whoa.
Yeah. I'm down too. Okay. Okay. So I have 6 items just to quickly discuss. The new filtered heating and air conditioning system for the community center. And the office has been submitted under the ICIP COVID-19 local government intake, and they've received it and acknowledged that. Stats Canada are seeking our support by a resolution to increase awareness of the census coming next year in May of, or this year in May of 2021. They're asking council to pass a resolution supporting the 2021 census, encouraging all residents to complete the census questionnaire online and then at the address. Accurate and complete census data, support programs and services that benefit our community. Would you support that type of resolution if I put it on the agenda?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was following up with Kara Holpe from the ministry regarding our empowerment training. And she said she was going to get PDF copies of the empowerment training decks to us. She didn't say exactly when, but when I followed up today, because it's next week is our training, she said that she still had to go over them, and she's slammed most of this week and hoping to get to it on Friday. So hopefully, I was hoping to have like paper copies so we could follow along when she was giving our training, but hopefully we'll have it by next Wednesday, but I'm not overly confident that we will have them. James had mentioned having a maybe a tablet for council use or a laptop. And I was going to suggest that because of the COVID and needing to do electronic meetings, we could use our some of our COVID funds to purchase a laptop or tablet for any council member that wanted one for use. Would anybody be interested in that, or not interested?
If you're interested, just say.
I think it's a good idea.
And if you are, I think that would be a valid use of the COVID funds.
Yes, if we have the COVID money, I would be for it also.
And we have budget talks coming up, so that's a perfect time.
Great. Okay.
Okay.
I would prefer the laptop though over the tablet, I think, because the bigger screen sometimes to see these PDFs and stuff.
Yeah.
And
I
my
agree.
computer got,
Yeah, because
I don't have a computer now that I got fried, so.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that would be a good use of the COVID funds, I think.
Yes.
The Ontario COVID-19 education and enforcement campaign is in place. And again, the ministry sends everything out in a big multi-page document. But in this case, the education enforcement campaign was to try and limit the duplication of local compliance and enforcement efforts, because they're trying to get local municipalities to use their bylaw enforcement officers to do this type of enforcement. However, this campaign was to include visits to workplaces that present heightened risk factors for potential transmission of COVID-19, including restaurants, banquet halls, gyms, fitness centers, personal care services, meeting and event spaces, mall-based retail, cinemas, and performing arts center. So really, none of the targeted items are in our municipality at this time. But if they do target something that's in our municipality, then they would want to train us to have our bylaw enforcement officer take care of the enforcement. And lastly, talking about bylaw enforcement, our current budget is, we budget $4,000 a year, but we don't really utilize our bylaw enforcement officer under the arrangement that we have, because lots of times as a shared person, and by the time we contact him, and maybe it'll be 3 days from now that he would come to deal with the problem, and usually the problem is solved by the time he comes here. So last year we only spent less than $1,000 on actual time for bylaw enforcement. But I know this year, I anticipate with the new trailer bylaw and the enforcement of the trailer licensing bylaw, that we may either have to look at a different arrangement, or maybe for sure budget more for that job, and maybe look at a different arrangement sometime in the year. Something to think about. That's my staff report for tonight. I'm going to
Okay, thank you. Oh, technology, isn't it grand?
It just shows how old we are, Tom.
Yeah, exactly.
Speak for
I could
yourself.
have a
No,
bullhorn.
whatever.
Anyway, there were no questions or no other questions, so we'll go on to committee reports. And we'll start with Councillor Moore.
No, I have no committee reports.
Okay, Councillor Marchant,
No, nothing from either committee.
Councillor Anderson,
Nothing from me either.
and Councillor Scott.
No, no committee reports.
And I have no committee reports either. East Home meeting is tomorrow. I can report, though, that those of you that do listen to the news, everybody I'm sure heard that East Home had an outbreak, but I'm pleased to say right now that the outbreak is over and East Home is back to regular status. So the one issue has been cleared up. So I guess that's the positive, and we'll hear more tomorrow. As Councillor Anderson mentioned, restructuring committee, it's quite difficult to move ahead with restructuring with COVID and our meeting format, the structure we have. What I'm going to ask is that if you get in touch with me, first of all, if you want to be on the restructuring committee, and you can just email me that as well. This will be on the agenda for the next time, because we have to look at, in our one meeting that we had, which is of course in closed session, we looked at changing Janet's report, and we have to look at how we want to proceed with that. If we go with the changes that we made, and then, so I guess when you tell me if you want to be on the restructuring committee, you could perhaps discuss that as well. Her timelines, I think, were a little too vague. It said we would post in September, and I think we're going to have to move before that. So if you're interested in that committee, if you would, you could get in touch with me before the next agenda goes out. But also, if you have any comments or suggestions on how to proceed, any recommendations. And the other thing is, because it is a committee of council, there will always be council representatives and staff representatives on the committee. So any questions on that regard?
Well, how much?
Nope.
For James, how much time is going to be involved, and when were you planning on having meetings?
Again, we haven't planned yet. Even if we have our own committee, we still have to have at least one staff person on it. So it could be, I see where you're going, James. If you wanted to be on it, it would have to be in the evening, correct?
Not necessary, but I would like to be on it, but it's going to interfere a lot with work, and I don't want to get onto something and then not be able to give you 100%.
Right. Well, we can look at even doing something before council, something like that. But again, it's a public meeting, so we have to have it on the agenda and go from there, even if it's just a committee, just like you would with the museum board. So if you will be in touch with me in the next week, and we can look at what we'll do on the next agenda, and we can go from there.
Good.
Is that okay for now?
Yep, that's fine. What I need.
Perfect.
Okay. Well, in that case, We'll move on with the minutes of the meeting held January 5th. So I need a mover and a seconder, please.
I'll
Linda?
move.
Okay, I'll take Councillor Moore and Councillor Anderson. And I'll read the motion. It's number R 2021-009, moved by Councillor Moore, seconded by Councillor Anderson, that the minutes of the meeting held January 5th, 2021 be adopted as published. All in favor?
Yes.
Yeah.
Carried. Bylaw number 5.
I can speak to this if you'd like, Your Worship.
Yep. Okay, so before I go for mover and a seconder, do you want to speak to it now?
I can.
Yep.
Each year, we do a compliance report for Emergency Management Ontario, or the OFM-EM. And on every report, they ask if we have an emergency management program committee in place. And we were under a misunderstanding about what that was. So this year we were corrected and we need to have one put in place. So it goes with the control group, but it's basically our control group. So this is just a housekeeping item so that we can finish off our compliance reporting.
Okay, are there any questions on that? Did everybody got the material, I hope, and read it?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, well, in that case, to be in compliance and to stay on John Struthers' good side, I need a mover and a seconder, please.
I'll move. Tom.
Councillor Marchant
Scott.
and Councillor Scott. Thank you. So it's number R 2021-010, moved by Councillor Marchant, seconded by Councillor Scott, that we pass bylaw number 2021-05, being a bylaw to appoint an emergency management program committee for the Township of Nipissing, read a first, second, and third time this 19th day of January, 2021. All in favor?
Yes.
Yeah.
Carried. Okay, and while we're at the things that we have to do all year, or every year, pardon me, the next is the bylaw to authorize borrowing. And it reads, a bylaw to authorize borrowing from time to time to meet current expenditures during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2021. So we do this every year, and that bylaw through council in case something totally unexpected, unbudgeted comes up. So let's hope we never use it. We have never used it so far. I'm knocking on wood now that we don't this year either. So I need a mover and a seconder, please.
Linda?
Liz.
Okay, thank you. So it's number R 2021-011, moved by Councillor Anderson, seconded by Councillor Moore, that we pass bylaw number 2021-06, being a bylaw to authorize borrowing from time to time to meet current expenditures during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2021, ready first, second, and third time this 19th day of January, 2021. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, carried. Okay, the next motion is number 7. And confirming the status of the outdoor rink. What we're suggesting is that the outdoor rink will be closed for the 2021 season. As of today, the directive for the lockdown has been extended to February 19th. So if we start making ice, you can't make it beforehand because people will use the rink.
Right.
And you're not allowed to use the rink.
Yeah.
If we wait till February 19th and it takes a week or 2 weeks to get the ice ready, the season's over, basically. So what we're suggesting that the rink will be closed for the 2021 season. Any comments on that?
No.
Well,
No, it makes sense.
We would be paying whatever, and our rink attendant would be done for the year. So he would be going home. Okay. In that case, I need a mover and a seconder, please.
I'll move, Tom.
Okay, thank you.
I'll move.
Thank you. So it's number R 2021-012, moved by Councillor Marchant, seconded by Councillor Scott, that the Township of Nipissing Outdoor Rink located at Heritage Park will be closed for the 2021 season in acknowledgement of the directive issued by the Medical Officer of Health under the provisions of the Emergency Management and Civil Protections Act. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Carried. Snowmobile Club. Right. Okay, the next one. Grant permission for the use of Kings Side Road to relocate for the South Shore Restoule Snowmobile Club. As I sit here tonight, and probably Liz could hear the same people running up and down this road, legally, any snowmobile can travel on any road in our area, okay? As long as there's licensed, insured, and whatever. The South Shore Restoule Snowmobile Club has asked permission to change the memorandum to use Kings Side Road for the remainder of the season. I want to point out right now that will be closed till February 19th as well, but perhaps it may be opened after that time. And so what we're looking for is a resolution, because this way people are going to be on those roads anyway, but we will have OFSC insurance as well as our own insurance if they're using that road. Any questions?
That'll be for next year too?
Nope. Right now, it's just for the remainder of this year. So from February 19th until and that is if the trail's open.
That's what I thought, but like on the agenda, it just says grant the use, so.
Yes, yep,
I do have a comment, Tom.
yep,
If, I think it's going to go past for property owners, am I correct?
yes,
So only because we're going to allow the Skidoo Trail to use it, which may increase the traffic up there, where they're not used to having a trail go up there. I know that Skidoos could use it if they wanted to. Should we not let them know that those 4 property owners, should we not advise them that they may have extra Skidoo traffic on that road? I only say it because we have a lot of snow this year. The ends of the driveways, it's hard to see. If they're not used to it, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Just for
No, I
safety
agree.
reasons.
I
Yeah.
agree, and we can notify those 3, I believe there's 3 people on that road.
There's one on the bottom, it's 4.
Okay, so 4. Yep, we
Okay,
can notify
great.
them. And the snowmobile club will be putting signs up to make them aware as well.
Great. Thank you.
Not a problem. Any other questions? Okay, if we could have a mover and a seconder, please.
I will move, Liz.
Okay. And the seconder, Councillor Scott, thank you. So it's number R 2021-013, moved by Councillor Moore, seconded by Councillor Scott. Whereas the South Shore Restoule Snowmobile Club has requested permission to modify the memorandum of understanding dated October 6, 2020 for the temporary use of a road within the township of Nipissing. Now therefore, the council of the township of Nipissing hereby acknowledges the use of the following municipal road, Kingside Road, for the remainder of the 2020 snowmobile season. And again, we've made a note that we will contact those people on the road. So I call all in favor.
Yes.
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 Carried, thank you. Right. Okay, the next one, number 9. And what this is, to authorize the guardrail and also for us to notify the gentleman in question to let him know that we will be following through with the guardrail system to the west of his house to give him extra protection.
Do we know how much that cost, Tom?
Dan's putting together some numbers right now. And he's gone dark. It shouldn't be too expensive. We can do all the work ourselves. It'll be a cable guardrail. It won't be the metal.
No.
Right, not a guide beam.
Right.
So a post,
Okay.
a post is $12. You need 2 cement blocks. Probably 20 posts, it'd probably be under $3,000.
So Chris, well within our budget this year, right?
Had myself muted. We haven't set the budget yet, so I'm sure we can put that in there.
We'll just add it in for sure.
Do we know the lot lines? We're not infringing on private property?
No.
Yes, we've got the lot lines. I'll hold this up. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, Tom, but we've already got over it, and it's the part in purple here, right there.
Yeah.
It needs to be here on this side.
And that's where it's going to be.
Okay.
Oh, yes. And Dan's just making the arrangements now. And like I said, it can all be done in-house. So it'll cut back on expenses. So mover and a seconder, please.
I'll move. Linda?
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. So it's R 2021-014, moved by Councillor Anderson, seconded by Councillor Marchant, that we authorize the installation of a guardrail on a southwestern portion of Sunset Cove Road on the approach to Highway 654. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Carried. Okay, we're moving on to the newsletter. And Chris, would you like to speak on it if anybody has any questions about the newsletter?
Certainly. We're
No, it
also
looks
going-
great. Great job, Chris. Great job as usual.
We're also going to be including the magnets that have been put together by the fire department for fire prevention, explaining code red and different things.
Very cool.
Landfill cards for this year are going in. We're all set.
Great, good.
Perfect.
Okay, I need a mover and a seconder then, please.
Liz,
Okay, I heard James.
Liz,
Okay, thank you. So it's number R 2021-015, moved by Councillor Scott, seconded by Councillor Moore, that we approve the January newsletter for circulation as presented. All in favor?
yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Carried. Did they get it? Okay, did everybody get the correspondence?
No,
No,
There was just
No.
one item.
Oh,
and
then
that's
I
why
got
we. And it was Omaguen Adult Learning Center, request for support. In the past, we haven't supported it because it's basically on Highway 11. And we have no transportation or anything like that. So what we've done in the past is tabled it. And that's been it. But that is the only correspondence. And that was for the Omaguen Learning Center. Any questions on it, on that?
no.
No.
Okay. It seems to be a tradition. So I need a mover and a seconder to accept the correspondence.
Linda?
Thank you, Councillor Anderson.
Tom,
Okay, thank you, Councillor Marchant. So number R 2021-016, moved by Councillor Anderson, seconded by Councillor Marchant, that we accept the correspondence as presented. All in favor?
Yes.
Carried. And the statements of accounts for December 31st, January 7th, and 15th. If I could have a mover and a seconder again, please.
James,
Liz,
Okay. Excuse me, I heard Councillor Scott and Councillor Moore. Thank you. So number R 2021-017, moved by Councillor Scott, seconded by Councillor Moore, that the statement of accounts dated December 31st, 2020 and January 7th and 15th, 2021, totaling $66,266.91 be approved. All in favor?
yes.
Yes.
Carried. Thank you. Which brings us to the confirming bylaw, in which I need a mover and a seconder as well, please.
James,
Linda?
Thank you. So it's number R 2021-018, moved by Councillor Scott, seconded by Councillor Anderson, that we pass bylaw number 2021-07, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council at its meeting held on January 19th, 2021, read the first, second, and third time, and passed this 19th day of January 2021. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
You. Carried. Got a time on that one.
707, your worship.
I've got 707, so number R 2021-019, a mover and a seconder, please.
Liz,
Okay, Counselor Moore and Counselor Marchant. So 2021-19, moved by Counselor Moore, seconded by Counselor Marchant, that the meeting be adjourned at 7:07 PM. Next regular meeting to be held February 2nd, 2021. All in favor?
yes.
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 Thank you, carried. And I have an East Home meeting tomorrow morning, but after that, if anybody wants to help with restructuring, if you give me a call, and then we'll get it on the agenda for the next meeting. So thank you all and have a lovely evening.
Thank
Good
you.
night.